Have you ever felt like you don't fit in? Like no matter how much you try, you just don't seem to click with the rest of the world? I know I do. So today I want to talk about how being an outsider is something to own and to be proud of. Hi, I'm Diane Hatz, founder of Hearth, and what I've realized over the past couple years is that being an outsider isn't something to hide or to fix. It's actually a superpower. If you're new here, I'd love it if you subscribed for weekly videos on creativity, authenticity, and finding your voice. So for much of my life, I never felt like I belonged, whether it was professionally, creatively, or even in personal circles. If you aren't comfortable with yourself or you have low self-esteem, not fitting in can be excruciatingly painful. At least it was for me. And it is really lonely at times. Sometimes, to be honest, it's even humiliating. Like you're constantly on the outside looking in through the glass, like your nose is against the glass, just saying, please accept me. I remember when I moved to New York and I made a group of friends who all got each other, and I never quite clicked. I didn't click with the food movement, which I was a part of for 25 years. I think it was because I didn't know who I was yet, so I tried to fit myself into situations that weren't me. I worked in the music industry for 10 years, and in corporate music, I felt fine, but I helped start an indie label in New York and was part of the indie scene for a while. And I never felt cool enough. Indie music was the cool thing back then. If you listen to my videos on indie writing and indie publishing, the reason I use the word indie is because of my experience in indie music. It's supposed to be individualistic, but what I found was there were more rules in the indie world than there were in corporate. So I remember I was at a dinner once and it was all cool people. They were all dressed cool and they talked cool music. And I was sitting next to this woman and she turned to me. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was in between gigs. The label I had helped start up, it didn't work out. I didn't know where I was going. So, I was honest. I just said I was in between jobs. And she just looked at me and went, "Oh," and then turned away and never said a word to me the rest of the meal. Yeah. At the time, I didn't feel cool enough. Maybe those people were right, just in the sense that I spent too much of my life trying to be what other people wanted and trying to be accepted. Maybe on some subconscious level, they could sense that. So mm, maybe they just weren't as interested. Maybe I wasn't as interested in myself. Maybe that has a lot to do with it. But if you've ever felt like that, like you're in a room full of people and you're just saying to yourself, I don't fit in here. If you've experienced that, then you know what I'm talking about. So how did I take that awkward, ill-fitting me and turn being an outsider into a superpower? I think it comes down to discovering who you are and believing in yourself. I've had decades of therapy and self-help, so I've spent a lot of time looking at my insecurities, my anxieties, and my all-around issues, and everyone has something. But in the last couple of years, I've been able to mostly accept my quirks and be okay with who I am. And that's a game changer. So for example, take traveling. I'm headed to Las Vegas soon, and I just came off another road trip, so traveling is on my mind. But I used to beat myself up because I couldn't pack a little carry-on and go away for 2 weeks like so many friends could. I got to the point, if I was driving, and it's a new thing here having an apartment, because even if I rented a car, if I had to fly, I couldn't take as much. But having a car, I might as well just take the whole apartment. Last trip, I took a pillow, a water purifier, a tea kettle, and mugs. Sometimes I take loose tea, so that involves a strainer. That involves a whole extra teapot, a humidifier, a sound machine, and it was the stuff I used in my apartment. It was like large size stuff. It took up at least one suitcase. Another thing I have is food. I'm a vegetarian and I was gluten-free for years. I'm gluten light now, but I was gluten-free for years. And this is in a time when there weren't as many options. You couldn't really find gluten-free in just general grocery stores. You had to go to a health food store. But I just developed all these anxieties around food, and then I would starve on the road. So I'd always have like peanut butter, and I'd get cheese. I would take all I could. And when I when I drive, I can take two. They're little coolers, but I can take two little coolers with me. So I again, I still sometimes get on myself like, do I really need to take that packet of gluten-free pretzel, whatever? And now it's like, yeah, why not? Fits in the car. And if I have to make 2 or 3 trips into the hotel with my luggage or get a big wheelie cart, so what? Nobody cares. And that was my thing. Like, it's a weird egocentric, it is egocentric, not in a negative way, but like, people behind the desk at the motel or hotel, they don't care what I'm bringing in. I mean, as long as it's not like a lion or a bear, they don't care. No one looks twice. So it's all in my head. So much of what we go through is in our head. So with traveling, what I also have to do, I have to print out a list. I'm very organized. You know, and I embrace my OCD because it makes me very organized. I print out a list of everything I'm going to take up to 5 days in advance. And then I just start checking off, you know, like brush, comb, I mean, down to, my water purifiers, whatever. I mean, one really great thing is, I don't know why it took me so long, but one day I'm like, there have to be smaller versions. So for water, I found something that hikers, campers take when they go out hiking for days and they use streams. And it's just this little thing, whereas I was taking this massive machine, and like you can get a sound machine that's that big instead of that big. So I have learned to compromise. I am who I am, and I've just learned like tea kettle. I am taking my big one to Vegas, but I have a small one that's like, I think it's 16 ounces or 8 ounces. You can put it in your luggage easily. So why not? I mean, I turn packing for trips into a ceremony. You know how the Japanese have tea ceremony? I have Diane packing ceremony. I give myself as much time as I need, and I slowly get things together. And for people who are always rushed, I guess it sounds silly, or it would sound like a waste of time, but I actually find it like a form of meditation. I had this other one. I couldn't go into a store that I had never been in before. Small stores, especially. I lived in the East Village of Manhattan, and they are all small stores. I used to beat myself up over, like, I just couldn't put my foot over the threshold. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what the fear was, being seen, being mocked. I don't know, but that was a challenge. I don't have it anymore. I think that once I started accepting that this is just the way I am, the quirks became less pronounced. Like, I didn't obsess over them. And I think that, like, if we stop worrying about something, other people aren't going to pick up on it as much. And I don't see them as a defect. I mean, if people don't have a quirk, are they interesting? Just something to think about. So if you do something you think that other people don't do, I would say also, you might be surprised to find out they do. So my store thing, I really thought it was me. And I just spoke with someone here recently in Santa Fe, and she's like, oh, I never thought about that. Never thought anyone else would have the same thing. I have the same problem, or had the same problem. So I guarantee you're not alone. And really the bottom line is, so what? Like, so what if you can only walk on the right side of the street, or you have to sit in the same chair in the same coffee shop all the time? So what? If it makes you feel better, if it calms you down, do it. Oh, I have this other one. I think it's sort of cute now. So this started when I was very young. My job would be to load the dishwasher, and I didn't have a dishwasher for many years, but I do here now in my newish apartment. And when I would put the utensils in, I cannot leave a utensil alone. And if I do a fork, a knife, and a spoon, that's a family. But there's like 6 little baskets in the big basket, so I'd have to like make sure everybody had company. And I'm sure you could analyze that. I'm sure Jung would have a field day. But you know what? It makes me feel better. So I think it's cute now. I don't care as much anymore. So an upside to feeling like you hang out on the edges is that you'll have a different perspective on life and on people. If you're a writer or you're doing anything creative, this is like a real asset, like a really great thing to have, to be able to observe and just to watch other people. Like I've been doing internal family systems, IFS, and I can just see people's parts being activated, and I can see my parts now. I can feel them being activated. And it's pretty cool to watch, like, people's energy bouncing off each other. You know, the other thing is, do you really want to follow the crowd? Like, if you're someone who doesn't fit in, how can I explain this? Because I always wanted to fit in, but I never wanted to follow the crowd. Like, I wanted to be me. And I guess it's partly, it's the challenge of finding other people like you. I have found that the people I like the most are very independent, doing a lot of things. So we're not going to be on the phone even every week talking to each other. And that's okay, because I'm the same way. So I think it's the key is, no matter what it is that you do or you think is odd, it's not. There's a community somewhere. And that's one of the beautiful things about maybe what the internet was now. Don't get me started. But you can find people who like to paint Easter eggs with red food dye from a specific beetle. So I think learning how to trust yourself and really working on being okay with who you are as you are, that's a superpower. It really is, because what happens is you stop caring what other people think and you just go out and do your thing, and you're like, hey, I'm going to go stand on my head and, I don't know, spit out acorns. And other people will go, oh, I've never heard of that. Can I join you? You'll find that people will be attracted to you because you are just expressing yourself as you are. You're not trying to please somebody or be something that you're not. So coloring outside the lines, it can hurt at times, but it's also your superpower, and it's something I hope you're proud of. Let's all just be us, whatever that is. So what's your uniqueness? What has it given you, but what is it that you have that makes you stand out? Feel free to share and leave a comment. And as always, thank you for being here.